to be streaming. Oh, we are streaming, and that is very convenient because Logan Trent, oh my God, there's something I need to tell you.
What's that?
It's that Jeff doesn't even like sports.
You bastard.
Yeah.
You're a bad person, Adam Todd Brown.
Yeah, I am. I'm a bad man. That's what people say.
It's actually pronounced Sparats, you fucking casual. So, yeah. No.
You don't even like sprouts. Wait, shit.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to You Don't Even Like Sports Live. I'm Adam Todd Brown. Jeff's here.
I'm Jeff May.
It's me. No.
Yes.
No,
yes.
you are not
And
Jeff May. I'm Jeff May.
Hey, I'm Boston over here.
Hey, look at me. I'm wearing a Celtic shirt and a bootleg Red Sox hat over here. The comments are going, the chat's going wild for Logan Trent, by the way.
It's
Sure.
nice to see.
That's one way to put it. Going wild. We got some comments in the chat.
We're going mild.
Kim Crawl is I don't know, where's Kim this week? No,
she's in Fuck You Stan, where you can record your own little podcast. How about that?
Yeah, that makes sense. So Logan filling in. Logan and I used to work together. Where was it? Is it Walmart? We used to work together. Venture?
Cracker Barrel, I think.
I think it was Cracker Barrel. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. We were on the pancake station at the Cracker Barrel.
That's the best station to be at. They make a good pancake at the Cracker Barrel.
They sure do. They sure do. And yeah, Logan, tell the people a little bit about yourself for people who don't know.
I write and edit stuff, not at any place in particular currently. Adam actually was one of the first people who ever gave me feedback on an article, which was very, very, very helpful for me because it kind of like gave me that little nudge that I needed to keep trying to do stuff. And I never really said thank you for that, Adam. So thank you.
Oh, okay. Hey, of course. I thought you were going to say I was really mean. And
no, you were very, very positive with everything. So
that's why I'm here.
Jeff is very mean.
No, yeah, Adam is mean. And I say that.
No, Jeff. Yeah, we know Jeff. Very, very, very bad person.
No, don't say that about me. I'm not mean.
Jeff has feelings.
Yeah. So we are talking about sports like we always do on this podcast.
Like we always do about this time.
Sort of sports, sports stories.
Sporta.
Where, I always get kicked out of the notes as soon as we start this podcast because it's live television. But we're back. And we're starting with tennis news. We always start with tennis news. It's everyone's favorite sport.
America's pastime.
Damn right. Oh, wait. Let me just. There we go. I had to let the comments know that Jeff is a bad person. And it's the only comment to that effect about any of us in there. People watching live know that. And people who aren't watching live, who are just listening, now they know. So tennis, they're getting that Saudi blood money. Finally.
All avenues lead to Saudi blood money, right?
I think so.
We needed their oil for so long, and they're starting to read the writing on the wall that oil might not hold up the way they think. It's like their crypto, but it's made of like old bones, and so they're like, well, we got to do something. Let's murder. let's murder journalists, and also let's get a little fun in sports. Let's have a Formula One race or something.
But yeah, as an Iraqi, I have complicated feelings about the rich assholes of the Mideast, which are the Saudis. So yeah, they're basically the rich snobby kids of the whole region, and just I can think of 9 to 11 reasons as to why we should all have problems with them.
And the answer is 10 9/11s.
Yes. But yeah, I will say, like, people keep bringing up Khashoggi and stuff, and rightfully so, one of the worst and just most brazen murders on there and things like that. But I don't know. There's a lot of hypocritical stuff, I feel like, when it comes to Saudis in sports, especially when people keep bringing up specifically journalistic murder, considering dozens upon dozens of Palestinian journalists have been yeeted in recent weeks and really hardly a peep from those same types of people.
All right,
So
I'll tell you what, man. If Israel starts sponsoring huge tennis and golf tournaments, I will say the same thing.
fair.
Like we can't what about something that's not technically a part of this conversation, even though it should be a part of
No.
the entire global conversation.
No, but I feel
Yeah.
like it always becomes kind of like a leading talking point on there, and it's just there's a lot of other reasons to dislike Saudis aside from that one instance, because
Yeah, but
there's numerous there
but
to bring
I
up.
mean a state ordered massacre of a
Mhm.
journalist is
Yeah,
something
no.
that you and it's also like it's not the worst thing the Saudis have done,
Yeah, no.
but it is such a brazen, brutal thing that and we saw it and we know it happened and like
Mhm.
our government doesn't care. They're like, well, what do you want us to do?
Yeah. I mean, our government probably murders people also, right? Like that's not
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's some questionable journalist deaths out there in the United States as well. Like
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's definitely not Saudi Arabia's biggest transgression. And also if you're talking sports like tennis and golf and soccer in the United States, why wouldn't they go outside the United States to get funding? Because this country doesn't care about those sports. So of
They don't
course,
even like
tennis-
sports.
Mhm.
I mean, aside from the big 3.5, it seems like they don't. The half being hockey, of course.
Hockey gets some
I'd say
love.
more a quarter, because really even that half is more Canadian side. So yeah.
Man,
Yeah,
Connor Bedard fever should be hitting you so hard, gentlemen. I mean, come on.
it's not though. It's just not.
I have a complicated relationship with the Blackhawks because they have also done some very, very shady shit in their recent past. And
Yeah, man, we know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's gonna take
you
us a
can look
couple
up why
hours
their
to
previous
qualify.
general manager and coach no longer are on the team. So yeah, it's a
Yeah,
good
I mean,
deep
there's-
dive.
That's a unique sports scandal. The Blackhawks
Yes.
scandal. Whoa, that deserves a whole episode.
We should do an episode about it someday.
We should. Yeah, it's
Of the main You Don't Even Like Sports pod.
yeah, it's pretty damn wild. So yeah, tennis, they're getting that Saudi money. They signed a deal where the Public Investment Fund, which is the wing of the Saudi government that is spending money so sports can happen. They signed a 5-year partnership where they get like naming rights to the ATP rankings. So as opposed to being like the Winston Cup,
Maybe
now
the 9/11 Cup.
yeah, now it's going to be like the Public
The Saudi
Investment
Cup.
Fund ATP rankings. I don't know.
The PFAPs.
Yeah. And they're also going to have their name on like courtside at some of the tournaments. But even then, just like Indian Wells, that's not a major. Miami, that's not a major. Madrid, Beijing, this is Masters. It's not even majors. So they're just dipping their toe in the Saudi money for right now.
Yeah. They're just trying it out. See how they like it. See how it fits. Number one, it's going to be interesting though, because you're going to have players, but then they're also bringing like Triple H and John Cena.
Yeah.
And all
Yeah.
these other people who
Doesn't
are.
Rafael Nadal have like a school over there or something recently?
He signed on as an ambassador for
Okay.
pro tennis in Saudi Arabia, I guess.
Yeah.
So he's not an Mbappe.
No.
There's not a lot of
He's a Ronaldo.
not a lot of stances being taken over there by Rafael.
Yeah, Mbappe, he's got to be like the purest athlete on the planet now. Like you shot down $1 billion for one season. Like that guy
I
can.
feel like
You can't question anything he does forever now.
yeah, at that point in time too, he's like, I don't know, man, 300 million. That's more than I can ever spend.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Eventually it gets to be too much. Trust me. As someone who owns several Michael Jordan rookie cards, I would know.
As somebody who got paid $1 billion to podcast in Saudi Arabia for 1 year.
Correct. Right. Yeah.
To be fair, if Saudi Arabia offered us $1 billion to record our podcast over there, I'd be like, yeah, I'm probably gonna do
Today's
that.
new sponsor, the Saudi Podcasting Fund, has just announced that it's buying You Don't Even Like Sports, and also Jeff May. Just Jeff May, the person, not the
You don't even
podcast.
like 9/11.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would sell Jeff to Saudi Arabia for.
You don't even like human rights.
I don't actually.
Yeah.
I
So
think I do well in Saudi Arabia before I got butchered like 3 weeks in. Like
Yeah,
I'd be
you
like, this is
probably-
all right. I think I'm doing okay. And then the next thing I know, I'm like, there's a sock in my mouth and a guy is bringing out a meat cleaver.
you'd probably be fine. You're a dude.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
you're
that's
tall.
fair.
Yeah.
Gonna
Yeah.
go to hang out in Mecca.
Yeah. They wouldn't think you were CIA at all.
Yeah, no. You don't
Absolutely
have top
not.
face.
No. They would be like, this is a regular man
Yep.
going
just
on
a
a
regular,
Hajj.
regular guy here to hang out in Saudi Arabia. No problem. So yeah, tennis, they've been going back and forth about whether to do this. Martina Navratilova and Chris Evert did not want to do this. Billie Jean King did. Billie Jean King is like 3 of each of those.
Because she
So-
beat a
Also,
man once, yeah.
Let's note that Martina Navratilova is a filthy transphobe, and Chris Everett is, at best, problematic when it comes to discussing black tennis players, considering every time she mentions the Williams sisters is just, oof. So,
Is that Martina Navratilova that's a transphobe? I thought that was Margaret Court.
Martina Navratilova called Margaret Court a racist and a homophobe. Martina Navratilova, I think, has done some turf stuff when other people.
Oh,
I think she
really?
yelled at the little Harry Potter kid who came out
Mm.
supporting trans rights because,
Well, that's
most of them
unfortunate.
have. So, yeah.
Man, who would have thought that somebody who spends all their time just playing a game would then have some pretty shady views on stuff?
Yeah,
Oh, there's
She called Margaret Court a homophobe because Margaret Court said tennis is full of lesbians. It's like,
yeah.
well,
Oh, is that phobic or is that just reporting the news?
yeah. Oh, I didn't know that about Martina Navratilova. That sucks.
That's like saying that
Yeah.
WWE had a steroid problem, and you're just like, you're just a muscle phobe. You're like, I don't know if that's the girl.
I like how steroids is probably the third least problematic thing about the WWE under Vince McMahon's tenure at this point.
Bare
Actually,
minimum.
fourth, probably. Now.
Also, the
Yeah.
steroids were fine.
Yeah.
Steroids should have been totally allowed in the WWE.
80s steroids hit kind of different. People just having hearts explode when they turn 40, not a good look.
If Canseco survived, then Hillbilly Jim would survive.
Yeah.
Canseco's too stupid to die.
Steroids
Like, he
did
just
get,
die, keep going for another 5 years.
steroids did get, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think I said it already in an article a long time ago. Steroids did get kind of a bad rap because of Lyle Alzado. Because Lyle Alzado, he was a linebacker for the Raiders. He was
Mhm.
great. He was a maniac. He took a bunch of steroids and then got brain cancer and went on TV and was like, oh, it's because of the steroids. I really regret that now. And here's the thing. It probably wasn't because of the
Yeah, that's not how
steroids-
science works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
steroids don't really do that. So
Steroids just make your brain jacked.
yeah.
Got that swole gray matter. You know what I'm saying?
Also, if the brain tumor didn't get him, the CTE would have. So I feel like that whole section of his body was a lost cause anyway. So
Yeah. What did we call it back then? We didn't even, I don't think we even
we
called
just
it.
called it getting your bell rung. That was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking a dinger.
It's hilarious because I don't know when the last time you guys have seen Dazed and Confused, but there's specifically a part of that movie where they talk about how Gerald Ford is possibly an idiot because he kept getting his head damaged while he played football when he was younger. So that's really fucking calling your shot out there. So
Wow. Yeah.
yeah.
There it is. Shout out.
So, all right, next story. I meant to bring this up last week. Somehow this has escaped my radar for years and years and years. It's a thing that happened in 1984, which is the year I started watching sports. Chris Collins. What?
Because of Big Brother.
Correct. Yeah. And the Bears made the NFC Championship that year. Go Bears. Chris Collinsworth. He's a guy. He's a character. He does Sunday Night Football in the booth. There's this interview from 1984. I don't know what it seems like they're interviewing him during, like it's a segment during a football game. It seems like I can't really tell what's going on, like what show this is a part of, but he's being interviewed about what kind of girls he likes. And he basically says, well, you know, I like them when they're still young enough to know better and to before they realize there's something better out there. So like around 14 to 18. And then when they get too smart, I cut them loose. And here's
Is
the
the
thing.
Karl Malone method.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, 14 to 18, that's a little old for Karl Malone.
True. Yeah, no.
You aged out around 14 with him, I think.
Did he say that he likes it or that's who likes him? Because
said
the way I saw that, here's the thing. I'm not this. I hope this doesn't get edited in a very strange way, but like it seems very self-deprecating. Like I've made the joke before that like the only women that like me are under 18 or over 80, where it's just like all the people that are in the age range that I would, and this was years ago, but it was like really just me being self-deprecating that I was unlucky with women.
Yeah,
that's what he tried to play it off as in his apology. Because yeah, when Adam sent that clip, I had kind of forgotten about it till I saw his fucking hair, and I was like, "Oh shit, I remember this from like 10 years ago."
Yeah.
He looks like if somebody was playing Matthew McConaughey in a reenactment for like a true crime thing, which is funny because Matthew McConaughey was in Unsolved Mysteries. But yeah, so when that first came out, he did one of the apologies where it was just like, yeah, I was just joking at the time. I didn't know that. You know, I'm a good guy. I'm Chris Collinsworth. Hey, you know, Al Michaels used to play tennis with O.J. Simpson. Go bug him for a while.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to put the link
in
the comments for people to the interview.
It definitely, I got the vibe of playful, you know, like self-deprecation on that, but it does, you know, lean problematic in the future, you know.
Yeah,
it's not like athletes have not been caught with teenagers. I mean, that's not a fast thing either. Fucking Josh Giddey in the NBA this year has been investigated with underage stuff. So
yeah,
maybe don't joke about that, Chris.
Still listening to Aerosmith, David Bowie, everybody.
Yeah,
I'm not listening to Ted Nugent. So
yeah, who's listening?
I made a stance. I made a hard stance. I will not listen to that specific pedophile's music.
That's why I only listen to wholesome music like Chuck Berry. You know,
just
good
the
old fashioned classics.
Yeah, the old school child rapists. Yeah, he's obviously joking, and it's like I do think Jeff is right that he's trying to be self-deprecating, and it just did not age well. It sounds like from reading his apology, it started aging poorly about a week after he said it. Because I don't think there's ever been a point where like everyone would have heard that and been comfortable with it. Like, no. I feel like even at the time, probably a lot of people were like, wait, what? You're fucking 14-year-olds? That's not
Yeah,
Like,
I think it's
even
more like he's a rich, handsome man that has to find a way to make himself seem likable. So he's saying like, I'm a loser. Women are
yeah.
the
Yeah.
only women that are dumb enough to like some idiot like me are too young for me anyway, kind of a thing.
Because right before he mentions that, he talks about like, "Hey, so why do you think women like you?" He's like, "Probably the money, because like I walk around with like $100 bills out of my pockets and stuff like that. Because I wasn't getting anybody before that." So he
He's
is kind of like shitting on himself throughout
he's
the
Yeah.
interview.
is it does he Collinsworth always has seemed like bizarro Joe Namath to me.
Yeah, he's
Where
Joe
Joe
Namath
Namath
without
is
any riz.
bizarro Joe Namath.
Yeah, it is one of those things too where like I do love that with we are in a contextless generation and we are in a purity testing era now where like things like that, like looking back and watching it, I'm like, well, it was clearly him being self-deprecating. That's not to say that I'm like a lawyer for him or being like he would have never done that. I'm not saying that, but like that interview, he's clearly self-deprecating and everyone was clutching their pearls. And I'm just like, fuck. Do you guys not understand context of irony and things like this? Or like he's clearly making a joke? Everybody's like,
I
he
mean,
definitely did this thing.
the fucking Chiefs just signed a punter who was cut from his previous team due to allegations of gang rape, and that was later he was cleared of that, but he still admitted to having sex with an underage girl by getting her drunk, but he's still playing. So it's not like this is, you know, it's not like this has gone away. So I can get why
Yeah.
people would get angry about this, but there's problems that we can be focusing on now instead of like a interview from Collinsworth from over 30 years ago that was probably a joke. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah.
But also, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that being a pedophile, bad news.
What?
Strong stance. Yeah.
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 Bold.
Don't quote me on
Bold.
that, but I'll say it now.
You don't even like age of consent. That's
But I do, Logan. I sure do.
All right. Let's talk about the new MLB uniforms.
Oh, yes. I've been waiting to talk about this.
This is the only interesting thing happening in baseball right now.
I want to see this version of Air.
Yeah. Nike teamed up with Fanatics to produce new uniforms for the MLB this season. And that should
It's
be
important.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say it's important to know that Fanatics is massive.
It's also important to note that Fanatics is as bad at making uniforms as they are at making literally anything else that they produce.
Well,
Just look at like what?
They're not making the uniforms though.
They have a strong hand in this. Yeah.
Aren't they?
Yeah,
Didn't they like contract them through Nike?
Well, I mean, the old uniforms were also made by Fanatics and Majestic was the other company involved. Like Fanatics is like directly involved in this.
Okay, because I know they're like the distributor, aren't they? Like they're the ones that are like they're kind of middlemaning in that regard. In the same way that like Topps makes the cards, but Fanatics is the owner of Topps, and they
This is a collaboration between Nike and Fanatics.
Yeah.
And like baseball uniforms, it shouldn't be that hard. Like they're like iPhones. Like they change and you have to like stare at it to figure out what changed. Or like
I feel at the base minimum, any uniform should just be like, can you see our players' dicks through these? No.
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
that's good.
Back to
That's
the
a
drawing
solid
board.
starting point. Yeah. If it's yes, then back.
Yeah, they have these players are wearing like pantyhose at this point. Like that wasn't even the first problem. The first problem was the lettering, which looks absurd. It's like weirdly too small.
They're like we've collaborated with Wish in order to get this put together.
Some baseball player had a picture of their uniform on Twitter X, whatever you call it, and out of just like I guess routine, the Fanatics sales rep like apologized, like, "Hey, sorry about this, Chris. Let's talk about how we
Yeah.
can fix this for you," not realizing it was an actual player, thinking they
Yep.
just bought like a fan jersey or something like that.
Yeah, customer service, online customer service has very specific like automated responses to certain things, and so they use
Yeah.
their automated response to, "I bought a bad article of clothing."
Yeah, and it's just a thing that keeps popping up with Fanatic shit. Like, not one NHL fans hate Fanatics, NFL fans hate Fanatics, MLB fans, NBA everybody hates Fanatics because
And
they suck.
they're taking over sports cards too.
I gotta
Yep.
tell you, I will love them if they send me some stuff. I will pimp myself out for them. Ain't
Fanatics.
hurt anybody. Yeah. This episode brought to you by Fanatics.
And
See our
Saudi
players'
government.
dicks. Fanatics. Also, but like part of me was also just like, what kind of underwear are you guys wearing when you're playing the game? Seeing a lot of like highlighted dicks. Like
Yeah.
I'm seeing ridges in those dicks.
Yeah, it's weird. They apparently did like no one try these on before they just shipped them out, because people are trying these pants on and they were meant to be like lighter, which how heavy were baseball pants in the first place?
They
Like
were actually they were using hockey pants this entire
Like-
time.
were they using like the fucking Chicago Black Sox wool uniforms from like the 1918s?
I would like to add too that
What? Who says it that way?
it's
They're using
Nike.
asbestos pants from the dead ball era.
It is Nike. So it's important to know that these were made overseas. That's
Uh-huh.
what companies want to tell you when they don't want to say China out loud. They'll say overseas, but the reality is that they're made in China. They probably, I'm guessing the prototypes that they sent off were great. That the model that they said, like, this is what we want, and then they cut some corners in the factory, and there you go.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if it was that, baseball would be able to do something. Like it's baseball.
Yeah, but it still has to get shipped over. So like, because that was a problem that we had when I worked at one of the statue companies that shall remain nameless, but is massive, is you'd see this prototype and they'd show it and like, here's what it's going to look like. And everyone would lose their minds. And then coming back from China and like the eye would be wonky and like all the quality control was just really low in certain areas. And it would be this thing where it's like, we need to fix this. It's going to take us 3 to 6 months to get this taken
if
care of.
it's
And
China,
fixed.
they're dealing with metric dicks, so maybe that was the
True.
conversion issue.
Yeah,
between
no, that
standard
is
and
very
metric. Yeah, so
Maybe they in China they were just like, let's make these American fucking look like assholes.
it's like that tweet. Yeah, boss, I got him, real fucking sexy, just like you asked.
Yeah.
Did everyone look at the pictures in these articles? Like it is.
Oh, numerous times. Yeah,
Oh,
They are.
delightful way to
provocative.
spend
yeah, they're my
afternoon.
wallpaper
Yeah.
on my phone now.
Yeah. Yeah, there was one picture. It was Casey Schmidt, who plays for the Giants, and the tweet just said Casey Schmidt bats right, throws right, hangs right, because you can just see his dick hanging
Yeah.
off.
Hey-o.
That'll make an interesting version of Casey at the bat.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, they
Well,
are.
Casey's hog is out.
you're gonna find out who's been corking their bat underneath there, just stuffing socks in there. So it's gonna be a whole scandal right there.
I just want to see somebody wearing a condom while they're playing. That's a smooth one. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I see the roll at the top.
If Jeter was still around, you could clearly see that he was having a herpes outbreak.
Ugh,
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jeets.
These pants, they're like leggings, basically. They're very tight because again, baseball pants weren't tight enough before. They also apparently before this, there would be a meeting with each player before the season where they would try their uniform on and they could be like, we alter it here, make it a little tighter here. And that went away. And now there's just 4 body types and you get to pick which body type you are and you get that uniform. You can do like slim, like athletic, who knows?
Prince
Like
Fielder.
fucking create a character in a video game. Like it's so
Yeah.
lazy.
Yeah, but with less options.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming the MLBPA is really having a blast with this.
Yeah. They're gonna need a new CBA where it's just like, hey, no dicks
Yeah.
next time.
If you're going to
Yeah.
show our dicks on TV, we're going to get dick showing money.
Sponsored by OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Only
I mean, they
fanatic.
deserve that.
Only fanatics.
All right. Let's talk about Caitlin Clark. Not to
Hell
brag,
yeah.
people listening, but I'm wearing an Iowa women's basketball sweatshirt. Pretty big supporter. Always have been since at least the end of last season. Big Iowa women's basketball supporter.
Yeah, you've
Goes
stuck
way
with
back.
them through all the hard stuff.
Yeah. Through all the ups and downs, like that game a couple weeks ago where Caitlin Clark got held to like 4 points in the second half. I stuck by him. I'm still with him. I'm still on board. No fair weather fans here. She's probably going to break Pete Maravich's scoring record this Sunday. As we record this, she has a game tonight at 6 p.m. PT. And she is 51 points away from Pete Maravich's NCAA Division I scoring record. Worth noting, Pete Maravich did it in 3 seasons. Caitlin Clark will have done it in 4. So
Also important to note that is a man.
Yeah. Pistol Pete.
Much more powerful.
Watching
Making
her
more money.
play is a lot like watching Pete Maravich play.
Yeah, she's phenomenal.
Like it's as much fun to watch her pass the ball as it is to watch her shoot the ball. Like she is insane when it comes to assists. Like
She should start getting like Jason Williams style passing, like do the elbow pass and stuff. She should just be like flashy as shit.
could she play in the NBA? I've seen
No.
memes going around about how Caitlin Clark could definitely play in the NBA. I mean, she couldn't play in the paint. That's for sure.
I do not think so. I mean, she's incredibly talented and pound for pound one of the best basketball players in the world, but she's not playing against a lot of 7-footers.
I don't want to see her play in the NBA. That's one of
Yeah.
the things. So this is actually one of the most interesting times for the WNBA right now. It's because we're getting on the ground floor of, so WNBA started in 1996. So when it started, there was so many groundbreaking things of just, hey, there's never been a women's professional basketball league. We're just doing this from scratch. Right now, what we're getting into with Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Buckets and others is we're getting the first real generation that grew up without the concept of not knowing that they couldn't play professional basketball. Like since they were born, WNBA has existed. So they've had this. When you're talking about like that first generation of groups, you're talking about people who were playing basketball, but their focus was never really like, oh, I could do this professionally because there wasn't a league. Now you're having kids who grew up the entirety of their lives like, oh, I could be a professional basketball player, which is why we're seeing Caitlin Clark's and all of these coming out. So I think we're about to hit, specifically for the WNBA, a boom similar to the Bird Magic era in the early 80s. And I'm really, really excited for what happens next with that, because that shit's going to be awesome. So, yeah, because WNBA is fun. I like it. I like basketball. When there's no NBA, WNBA is in the summer. I get more basketball. It's a good win-win all around. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Actually,
excited.
some of the teams lose, Logan.
What?
Yeah.
True.
Said actually some of the teams lose. He said it's a
That
win-win.
is true.
And
Yeah.
Sorry, but that's not how sports work. You fucking tool.
Yeah, I do hope she declares for the WNBA draft this year, mostly because I want to see her on the same team as Aaliyah Boston. That would be because the Indiana Fever have the number 1 pick. How crazy would it be if they did not take Caitlin Clark?
Yeah. What if
It would
Caitlin
be
Clark got
ridiculous.
like what if she was like, oh, sorry about that. I got a job working in an office and it's going to pay double what I would have made in the WNBA. So I have to take that.
Is she going to be the one who like makes it so WNBA players are making like, I don't know, six figures finally?
I mean,
Man, I think the first thing is that they need to start having chartered fucking planes. That's the first thing they need to be asking for. Like,
It's-
fun story. The last time I flew back from Chicago pre-pandemic, I was sitting in Midway and I was just, on the computer and I noticed a very tall woman walk past me. And I noticed her surrounded by other very, very tall women. And it turned out I forgot exactly what team it was, but it was the team that was playing the Sky the night before. And I just got really depressed because why the fuck is a professional sports team flying out of fucking Midway?
Yeah,
Like,
that is
probably start going to another mid-tier airport.
yeah.
They're flying into Gatlinburg or some shit.
It is a bummer how the WNBA is treated financially compared to the NBA. And I've said it a million times, like I get that they don't make the same money, so it can't be the exact same money, but just distribute the money they make the same way it's distributed in the NBA. And
yeah, that's what's her
care of a
name's
lot of it.
complaint. From the Aces. Shit. Kelsey Plum, she had that exact same complaint. She was talking about how she doesn't get like jersey sales on the same level. Like they're like, we're not trying to get more of like a non-existent pie. We just want to be paid, on par as our male counterparts with that. So
I think they're gonna wait a year after they draft her, and they're gonna look at ticket sales whenever she shows up. Right? That's gonna be the thing. They're going to be like, how much revenue is now being produced in here? How much revenue is being invested into the WNBA? Because the thing is like Caitlin Clark's existence isn't just good for her team and then the team that she's playing against, but more people are being interested in watching the WNBA to learn more, or more people are going to one of her games and being like, oh, this is really fun. I'm going to start going to more basketball games. Like,
yeah, it's the magic bird thing. Like just finals were on like tape delay for the longest time before they started playing and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's just so it takes time to build a league like that, and we're just starting to see, like I said, like the next generation of when this starts to blow up, and that's really fucking interesting and going to be a lot of fun. So
wouldn't it be really funny if Pete Maravich or a Pete Maravich devotee fucking clubbed her in the knee? Because he's dead, right?
He died in the weirdest way possible.
Yeah,
because I was about that.
He got clubbed in the heart.
Yeah.
No, he was playing basketball in the middle of a pickup game. He said, "I feel great," and then he just fell over dead right after saying that.
We don't believe you, Pete.
So he died a liar.
Yeah, he's a dying. If I'm lying, I'm dying.
Yeah.
Imagine not getting shot with a pistol and having that nickname.
What if he said, "I feel great," and someone just came onto the court with a pistol and assassinated him? Just
Or if it just last Boy Scouted it at the end.
It specifically was Billy Blanks shooting Pistol Pete Maravich.
Yeah, because no, it wouldn't be, because if it was Billy, he'd be shooting blanks.
Oh.
That was
fuck you guys.
Yeah. Caitlin Clark. Oh man, I've made so much money selling Caitlin Clark cards this year. Oof. Lucrative. They sell.
Coach Luke, bro.
It's been pretty nice. So yeah, she'll break that record soon. Speaking of Caitlin Clark, she got ran the fuck over a couple weeks ago when her team unexpectedly lost and the opposing team's fans stormed the court. And now Kyle Filipowski, who is a star player for the Duke Blue Devils, also just got injured in a court storming incident. Can we just ban this already?
It sure would be nice to try to get a bunch of teenagers to not do this, but how has it not been banned since the very beginning of this sport.
I refuse to believe you can't stop it. I don't know. Like, I don't know where people are getting this notion like, oh, you're going to make those kids mad. Man, fuck those kids.
Yeah.
What was the
Kneecap
game?
motherfuckers when they run on the court.
Was it Mississippi? The game that they with where they put up the like no the no rushing, like our rule about storming the court, and then they just got their dicks pushed in the dirt by Kentucky.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Mississippi State, I believe, was playing Kentucky, and they like Kentucky's beat them something like 19 times in a row, and they were winning with 4 minutes and 51 seconds left. So they put up their like protocol about court storming, which got a little too cocky because Kentucky then went on like a 28-15 run and won the game.
Yeah. But it's also one of those two things too, where they're like, we also, God forbid, if we injure a player because these fucking animals in the stands can't not charge onto the floor. Well, people with very prominent futures potentially are there.
Yeah.
Who's to say that some psychopath ain't gonna stab Caitlin Clark?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, considering mass shootings and every other fucking thing that we have, how has that not happened yet?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I'm assuming they have security.
and there's definitely not the possibility of somebody who lost a lot of money gambling, because now that's everywhere. Probably taking out those frustrations on a college athlete.
Gambling.
Yeah, there's just
you absolutely called how that was going to make sports terrible, Adam, and yeah, you were 100% right. Just oof.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've never been into gambling. Like, it's not oof.
Adam and I tried gambling once on our phones. We were watching the fight, right? We were watching Tyson Fury, I think. And we were like, we should gamble. And we saw all these commercials, and they were like, you can bet on the fight now. And we were like, we should do that. And then we went to do it, and it's like blocked in your state. And we both looked at each other and we're like, that's probably for the best, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We both immediately were like, this was a moment of weakness for us both.
I'm going to kind of be a hypocrite here because I didn't have a job in high school because I just made money off of gambling. So I like gambling, but at the same time, I don't need it in every single aspect of sports where any story that they're talking about has to relate to the gambling prospects of it. And so it's fucking gross now. Like,
we've gone to players not even being allowed to play fantasy sports to gambling being fully legal on sports. And sitting here just like, I don't know. Like, here's the thing. Like, gambling exists because it is profitable, because it ruins lives. And we tend to gloss over that because we don't particularly care about the lives that it ruins, because it's an addiction that we don't necessarily consider to be something addictive in the way that tobacco or alcohol would be.
Oh, we do. We consider it addictive.
I mean, society doesn't I mean, we do, but society's like, well, it's just what's gambling? It's not like a chemical.
Just pick better winners, bro.
Yeah, it's such a fucking problem, especially when it's all on your phone and it's all like digital. You're not seeing your money. It's not like you're putting down money on a blackjack table. You're just like, oh, I'm going to wager some credits. And you don't realize the next thing you know, you lost 27 grand.
So court storming.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a stupid thing. It shouldn't be a thing. It's dumb and it's easily preventable. Just fucking get your security on that shit. What the fuck?
I hate this talking point of like, oh, well, how do you stop it? Like, it's not.
How's the NFL stop it? How's the NBA stop it?
You ever see you ever see a baseball game when someone gets on the field?
Yeah. Any professional sporting event.
The WWE stops it.
They're doing Legion of Doom finishers on people when they get on the outfield in Major League Baseball.
You run on stage at the wrong concert and you're going to get knocked the fuck out. Meanwhile, we act like we can't stop a bunch of college students. The best, because there have been some stupid suggestions for how to deal with it. Like, one was, oh, well, put up a 1 minute timer and everyone has to wait until that 1 minute timer is done. And that gives the opposing team time to get off the court. And it's like, how about you just calm your rowdy fucking fans down instead.
Yeah.
How about that?
How about shut the fuck up?
Yeah.
The dumbest one I heard was, I think it was Jay Billis, who was saying, like, let them all come onto the court. Then you surround them all and you tell them you're all getting tickets and that. Like, it's just that's really going to go well, you know?
Kettling
Like,
college students. Yeah, that'll work
Yeah,
out.
you know,
I
like
was
how
watching-
every college party that's, you know, busted up by the cops, no one ever just runs out of a window or starts doing
Look,
shit or anything.
If
Like, yeah.
if I was a professional athlete at that level, if I played for like Duke or UNC or some shit, and I'm playing basketball and somebody ran towards me, I'm gonna go full Indiana Pacers. Like,
Well, if I was at Duke, I'd just be punching people because I'd be a giant piece of shit because I was at Duke.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, your parents
Yeah.
would have told
Yeah.
you.
yeah.
That's what
My
you do.
father,
Yeah.
father will hear about this.
yeah,
This is
my
what Dad
father's
would do if
enforcer
Mom
would
was
knock
running
you
up
out.
on him.
But you know, any of these like really high profile schools, if somebody ran towards me from the fucking stands, I'm going to remove their consciousness.
Yeah.
We're
But see,
just
then-
waiting for a Malice at the Palace incident. And
Like-
that's gonna-
100%. Yeah.
100% gonna happen. So,
You as the player would get
Murdered.
punished for that if
Yes.
you did that.
just
Which
like when Jermaine O'Neal punched Turtle from Entourage when he came onto the court in the Malice brawl. So, yeah.
I was watching ESPN Live when Jay Billis had that suggestion. And at the very first moment when he was like, well, here's what you do. You let them run on the court and then you don't let them leave. I was like, ooh, go on. Like, and then what? We start shooting. And he's like,
Yeah.
then you write tickets. It's like, oh, fuck you. That's dumb.
You take a
It's
short
just-
length of rubber hose,
You fill
you
the
just
arena
start
with water.
wailing on these fuckers.
Yeah, it's like one of those moments when you're like next to a drunk or like high person and they're saying something, they're like, oh, this is gonna be really smart. And then you're like 10 seconds in, you're like, no, I regret listening to any moment of this conversation. Yeah.
I've made a huge mistake.
Yeah. Jay Billis, not a smart man.
No. And yeah, people keep saying, well, what's it going to take? Someone to get really, really injured? You can Google this, everybody. 2004, a high school player named Joe Kay, no relation to the LA comedian, in a court storming incident. There's video of it. He gets ran into, and I believe the impact severed his carotid artery somehow. He had a stroke and was partially paralyzed and is still, I believe, partially paralyzed. This was a high school kid. And it's recently enough that we all should have been like, oh, yeah, so that's when we stopped doing the court storming shit, obviously. But
Are you
Nope.
saying that a child got injured in a school setting and that no government protocols were enacted to prevent that from future incidents, Adam?
exactly,
what
just
you're
ban
saying?
court storming like we banned guns.
Yeah.
I would like to posit that we should make court storming allowed in one sport, and that sport is hockey.
Well, I'd like to propose that the only way to stop bad court stormers is good court stormers with a good
That's
court. So, obviously,
true.
yeah.
Imagine if it was hockey, though. Some guy in Ottawa thinking he can come out there, just clumping around in his Caterpillar boots, falling on his ass, while some Boston Bruin comes over to fucking 35 miles an hour on skates.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, stay off the fucking courts. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the only sport. Like, why the one sport where it's like kids? Like,
Yeah.
these are essentially still kids. That's the one sport where we're like, yeah, let the public run after them.
I mean, it seems like they're the most accessible of the kid athletes. If you did that in football, those boys are in armor and they are jacked.
Hey, football
Yeah.
has the same problem in college sports. They fucking storm and they knock over the goddamn field goal posts like
Yeah.
all the time. So, yeah. It's just, yeah, it doesn't need to be done. It's a stupid thing. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, it's tradition. Well, your tradition's fucking stupid, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Traditions, having something being a tradition is the reason it should be not put away. might be the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so we're addicted to doing something shitty. Cool.
Baseball should have been done with home plate umpires like 10 years ago, like minimum. Like that, you see it when you watch a game. The technology exists to call balls and strikes without having a dude back there who's probably going to have a stroke at some point. And
But if you want to fire Angel Hernandez,
I was gonna say, yeah, like what else are we gonna get a wild card like Angel Hernandez to come in and be like, you know what? What if the game was harder and worse today?
it's even dumber with football, with like the goal line and everything. Like you have microchips that can literally measure where the ball crosses on this, and you're just depending on some fucking old guy looking at a massive bodies and like, I kind of see the tip. Yeah.
And then two guys holding carrots get to tell you where you go.
Yeah. And then his ability to run a straight line out to where he thinks the ball was at.
Two people holding the worst version of nunchucks running onto the court, onto the field, and just
and a guy running like he's just played Dizzy Bat, trying to decide where he wants to put the ball.
Yeah, all of that can be robots. I mean, most of the NFL could be robots at this point. That would probably.
I think sports might be dumb sometimes, guys.
Yeah. I would watch robot NFL because at that point it's just coaching. And like
Fox has been waiting for that for decades. Getting that piece of shit out of there. Like,
get that thing
fucking transformer ass robot coming in doing his little dances.
He always points like he's actually doing stuff when he's coming on there. It's like, you've never done a play, man. It's just you're the Rudy of robots.
Chunky
Rudy
ass.
Put in the effort, man.
Can't throw a football with fucking robot hands like that.
You don't know. You might be able to.
I do know.
That's like isn't that like the whole point of Ex Machina, is that she's like throwing tight spirals the whole time?
Yeah. They try to find out if she's eligible to play for the Raiders.
And she is.
Point of the movie. Yeah. That's why
but
I was
about to
spoil
didn't coach her upright. Yeah, she was out of the league in a season or two.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac dropped the ball on that one. He didn't make her coachable.
I don't. Sidebar: why didn't we put Jimmy Garoppolo getting suspended for performance enhancing drug policy in this? Like, what? He hasn't performed all season.
He needs to get a refund on that shit, man.
What was he taking PEDs for? That makes no fucking sense.
Yeah. What was the D that was eing his pee? Because
that blew my mind. He's suspended for 2 games. It's like, has he served it? I don't know.
That's lateral. That's being suspended for 2 games with that level of performance is just a lateral move.
Now that poor son of a bitch just has to go on to his life of millions of dollars and handsome facedness and just
being a beautiful millionaire.
Yeah.
Poor
it's gonna
bastard.
be a rough road ahead for that guy.
Yeah. Man, his Kia dealership is gonna have a real rough go now. Whatever car wash he's gonna open in Fort Lauderdale or some shit. You ever see that video on like the documentary on athletes and their money and like how they all just open car washes?
You mean the one that was called Broke?
Broke, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Little spoiler there.
Yeah, they do. They do kind of give that whole thing away.
Not everyone's Magic Johnson, who's just a financial genius, apparently. Just Jesus Christ.
I saw a shirt on Instagram. It's just a picture of Magic Johnson and it says "Stay positive."
Oof.
That shirt.
I don't get it.
Because he's smiling. He's always happy.
Yeah, he's got.
I want you to know that I saw him outside of a movie theater when I like kind of first came out here.
Was it his movie theater?
I was seeing Gravity, and it sure was not a Magic Johnson movie theater. I was like, this seems like bad branding. It'd be like Britney Spears drinking a Coke on camera.
He has the most delightful Twitter account. It's the most just like straight, like tonight, the Charlotte Hornets defeated the Miami Heat because they scored more points in an active manner and had a very, very positive outlook on their defense. And it's
We'll
just the
get him.
most positive vibes Twitter account. Like, unironically, I love it.
He was John Maddening his whole
Yeah,
Twitter
no.
account. Yeah.
All right. This last story. There's a Deadspin article. Deadspin writer named Sean Beckwith. He's got a warning for us. Here's the headline. I'll give you even odds that Tyreek Hill turns into Antonio Brown in 3 years.
This was the biggest, like, yeah, no shit headline when I was like, did we? Patrick Mahomes is the greatest thing that happened to Tyreek Hill's career. Like, Adam, I'll let you go with the notes because you wrote the whole story in there. But yeah, it's.
Well, yeah, Tyreek Hill, he is a problematic fella. That is for sure.
When he was silly little goof, we like to call him.
Yeah,
you wrote strangled girlfriend in my, because I was reading the notes and you were writing strangled girlfriend. In my head, I was just like pregnant girlfriend, and literally you just wrote pregnant right after I thought that. It was like, yeah.
He pled guilty to strangling his pregnant girlfriend. And that was when he was still in college at Oklahoma State University. So naturally, you're going to want to draft that guy, get him on your squad.
The combine is this week. He actually wasn't allowed at the combine because everyone's like, no one's going to draft you that high. You don't need to be here because, you know, you strangled your pregnant girlfriend. And he did not go to the combine. So, yeah.
How high was he drafted?
I want to say he dropped to 4th, maybe. I can't remember off the top, but yeah, he did not go as high as people thought he would. And again, they got Mahomes the next year, and that kind of just made everybody kind of forget about most of that shit. Also, they had a player named Kareem Hunt who also had a video of him kicking somebody in the head outside of a hotel. So that kind of took some of the heat off of Tyreek. Yeah.
I remember
the Chiefs have had a very fucked up franchise.
Yeah, I would get those two confused at the time. And it was just because I was like, who's the one that kicked the woman in the head and who's the one that strangled the woman? I can never.
Which one's the hands guy and which one's the feet guy? Yeah.
Just
another which example. The one that showed up outside the practice facility and shot themselves in the head while Romeo Crennel begged them not to, because that was also a Chiefs player. So
this is just another example of the Chiefs trying to be like the Patriots.
The Patriots.
We have a great quarterback. They get a legendary quarterback. We have an absolute monster. They try to get one. Well, until he starts murdering people, Tyreek, you're never going to live up to the Patriot way.
Yeah. Your move, Travis Kelce.
That'd be so funny if
what you need to do.
Yeah. It'd be so funny if they hired Tim Tebow as a backup quarterback and they're like, it's to control Tyreek Hill.
So, yeah, Tyreek Hill, I remember when the Chiefs traded him, people were shocked or that they would, let him go because he really was Patrick Mahomes' like top receiver. And even before they trade, like this has to be why they traded him, right? Like it's got to be behavior stuff.
Yeah, that happens all the time in the NFL.
Partially behavioral, but they were also in a weird salary cap situation. So they got a first round draft pick out of it because Miami was filthy with them at the time. So it was partially contract
lousy
related,
with draft picks.
So, yeah. So I guess maybe on their draft board they probably did put like pros doesn't strangle girlfriend and parentheses pregnant girlfriend, and then they probably weighed that against keeping Tyreek, and that probably swayed them a little in the favor of trading him, I'm assuming.
Yeah, sometimes like you'll see somebody as like kind of a locker room cancer and they're like, why would they trade that guy?
Yeah.
And you just like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, there's a reason some amazing players have been on like 6 different teams.
I will say it's amazing that they got through an entire season of Hard Knocks without any incident from him popping up on camera or that.
The Dolphins
later.
season was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, even before the Chiefs traded him, like we're kind of selling him short, just bringing up that he strangled his pregnant girlfriend. There's more.
Mhm.
He also, before he was traded, while he was still with the Chiefs, his ex-fiance filed a complaint accusing him of breaking their then 3-year-old son's arm,
Mhm.
which, ouch, that's a lot. He's had some incidents since he was traded. He, in August 2023, allegedly slapped a marina employee on the back of the neck during a disagreement and then offered the guy $200 to not say anything. In January 2024, his lawyer filed divorce papers on his behalf. And then Tyreek Hill came out in the media and said, actually, that was not meant to be done. And I have fired my lawyer, which I have so many questions about how
So
that happens.
that can't. He was trying to say that, but everyone was rightfully pointing out, yeah, motherfucker, you still have to sign those papers for that to be legal. And you have to get those notarized on top of that. Like, what? He's like, yeah, no, they kind of scammed me into this. Is like,
Yeah. That can't happen. You can't
Yeah.
get scammed into a divorce. You can get scammed into a marriage.
yeah, no, it's just,
Yeah. Very weird.
So-
Very weird. He also at various times has said he wants to be a porn star and wants to fight Jake Paul. Nothing scandalous about any of that.
Yeah,
Go do it.
That dude's rock. You know, that's
Par for the course.
he'd probably do better than Nate Robinson. So
Yeah.
be hard not.
Poor Nate Robinson. Somebody
He
give
got-
him a kidney.
He's actually not poor though.
No, he's poor in kidney health though.
Yeah.
Got 2.
No, he needs one.
Yeah.
No, I mean most of us have 2.
Yeah, he has 0.
Give him one then, Logan. Don't be a bigot.
No,
Yeah.
he didn't win us. He didn't get us past that Brooklyn series. So, after that, he kind of fizzled out. If he
There
won
it
2
is.
series, maybe.
He's like, after that, I poisoned his kidneys.
Yes. I thought I was getting Kevin Hart. It turned out to be him instead. So, yeah.
So now Tyreek Hill's latest scandal. This is what has the Deadspin writer all up in arms. He's done with Tyreek Hill. An OnlyFans model has filed a lawsuit against Tyreek Hill. Her name's Sophie Hall. Here's
Did you
what
look her
happened.
up?
She was in the article.
You saw that what she looked like?
I mean, yeah, she's
Dick.
yeah.
That ass.
She's an OnlyFans model, and
Hell
she
yeah.
signed her son up for Tyreek Hill's football camp. And Tyreek Hill somehow saw her name on the roster, and I don't know if he Googled her or if it said Sophie Hall from OnlyFans.
Or he's a member.
Yeah, like if he was already subscribed, but he sees her name and, as a married man does, invites her to his house for some one-on-one football drills. Perfectly innocent. Who doesn't? You meet an OnlyFans model, your first course of action.
That means sex, right?
Do you want to come over and do some football drills?
But there's a wink in there. Like, let's do some football drills. Sex.
No, you would think that that's a euphemism for something, but no. She came over and they actually did football drills.
She must have been so confused.
And at one
Wait,
point,
you actually do want
If it wasn't Tyreek Hill, that would be like a hilariously adorable anecdote from any other player. It'd just be like, oh, that's funny. They actually did do football drills. This does not turn out well.
No. These football drills go a certain way because you see, at one point they're doing a running back drill, and apparently during that drill, Sophie Hall hit Tyreek Hill in a way that it like pushed him back a little bit, like bumped him over a little.
She's 6'1", by the way.
Yeah, I mean, she almost knocked Tyreek Hill over during a running back drill. And so she claims that after that, they switched places and he took the offense role and she was on defense. And that 4 reps after that, he just let's get the quote here. He charged, quote, into her violently and with great force, causing her to suffer a right leg injury. Broken leg. He broke her leg.
Broke her leg.
And now she is suing because
she can't even only stand.
Well, I mean, he treated her like family, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is football drills, by the way.
When you're here,
if she didn't show up to play, you know, it's like, what did you think was happening? He's a professional football player. Bring your fucking A game, Sophie.
Yeah. Not the
also,
victim
this is
blame,
terrible.
But
yeah.
Yeah. This is pretty wild. This is like, if that's really how it happened, if he was like, no girl's going to push me. It's just like, I'm going to fucking pee off on this broad. You have no idea. Like, come on, Tyreek Hill.
Was Hill, cut it out.
That I don't know.
Because I mean, if he was actually just doing football drills and the kid wasn't even there, that's an even weirder twist to the story. Like,
I'm 100% pretty sure that that's how that went. Yeah.
Or was the kid there and Tyreek Hill just broke the kid's mom's leg in front of him?
That's some peacocking right there.
Yeah, I mean, there's no negging, like broken leg negging. Like, yeah, no.
Yeah. If your dad was here, I'd break his leg, kid.
Yeah, he gave her the old leg neg. You know what I'm saying?
So what do we think? Is Tyreek Hill on the way? Here's the difference, though. Is there like, because with Antonio Brown, there's always that argument that, well, things were one way, and then he got that hit during that playoff game, and things became another way after that.
Yeah.
Somebody slipped him some of that Mr. Hyde juice all of a sudden.
Well, I mean, he says he said I have CTE. So like, I've never seen somebody, he's gonna declare that like Babe Ruth calling his home run when he's gone and they'd actually check his brain. I mean, yeah, but
tags all of his tweets hashtag CTESPN. And I know that because there was a scandal involving him recently after Caitlin Clark broke Kelsey Plum's record. He just tweeted, "Bitch looks like Mel Gibson," which, one, God, that's a bad look. And also someone else pointed out he stole the tweet too. Like, it's like he even stole that from someone else.
Not even the top 10 worst things Antonio Brown has done, but it is still shitty.
On this show, joke plagiarism is pretty high, Logan. Remember who you're talking to. Misogynists. We're misogynists.
So I will say, like, hard because I don't, even with like the shit that's come out about him, I don't think that any like retroactive stuff from like his college days of him being his piece of shitty have come out. Yeah. Where with Tyreek Hill, like, it's just, this is an established pattern of you being trash. Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's, with this, I really don't know where the like stance is on this, just because he's already, like, this is just par for the course. Yeah. It's not like it's not like the Antonio Brown thing where it's like that, oh, this guy's starting to be a real piece of shit, or even the Deshaun Watson thing where it's like, none of those red flags were in college, as far as I know. It's just, once he turned pro, suddenly masseuses were in danger. Everybody in a 50 radius.
It's an Aaron Hernandez thing.
Yeah, it seemed like Deshaun Watson had like a very specific niche when it came to his fucking sex crimes. Like, he just had like a fucking play he ran on masseuses where he was like, "Hey, you want to touch my dick?"
It was a
And
very, very specific, weird
yeah,
kink of sexual assault because he
we
was
all have
assaulting
that
them
flex.
sexually. So yeah, but
right.
I do. It's not funny, but the getting really mad that he got slightly moved by a 6'1" model with powerful legs and just so like breaking her leg on the other end. Like, I don't think the intent was to break her leg, but like, it's not funny,
yeah,
but it's a little funny, but it's not
like I
funny.
think
And like, he deserves to lose this lawsuit because he's a huge piece of shit. And that is an act of violence, but also like, he invited her to her house for one-on-one football drills. And that is what they did. And then he got so mad that he ended up seemingly accidentally injuring her.
It
And that's
kind of reminds me of the water volleyball scene in Meet the Parents, where Ben Stiller
Yeah.
is getting fucking wrecked in water volleyball and finally decides to like spike the shit out of the ball and just drills her sister in the face with the ball. Like, it's like kind of that, except tragic and sad because an NFL player broke a woman's leg.
yeah. If Ben Stiller broke her leg, it would have been even funnier.
Funny. Yeah. Or if Tyreek Hill broke Ben Stiller's leg. Again, funny.
And if Ben Stiller broke Tyreek Hill's leg, we're talking top of the heap comedy. Yeah, that's airplane level comedy right there.
Yeah, I do need to know more about these football drills. Is that just Tyreek Hill's?
The whole thing is fucking confusing. Like, it just sounds like the whole story sounds like something you would hear from like Ballsack Sports or one of those like parody like tweet accounts, but it's real. It's just like, wait, what? Like,
yeah,
huh? Yeah.
I really wish I would do anything to see if there was security camera footage of the football drills. Like, and again, this is not diminishing any of the things that happened before, but like, it's funny.
It's weird also how like NFL, like the NBA has funny stories all the time, but they're like funny. But NFL, when it has a funny story, they're still horrifically funny in a way. Like, it's just the NFL is just a horror show.
Well, it's all like these men are built so differently than, you know, these men are just, I don't know if you've ever met a professional football player, but they're like brick walls with little heads. They're terrifying. They're powerful. They're, you know, it's like genuinely, it's like a bunch of Brock Lesnar's running around.
And a lot of them have brain damage.
Yes. And so you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, like every one of their silly little stories is like even their pranks are just like horrifically terrifying.
I mean, we don't talk about the Peyton Manning thing, and he's like America's sweetheart now, and he fucking I mean, Adam, you know about like the Tennessee incident, right?
What is it? Balls on a reporter's forehead or some shit.
It was
just, I think he like held her down, and I think he just farted or something like that. It was something involving his butt region.
It was a very boys will be boys reaction people had to like this low-key form of assault. Yeah, I think it was an athletic trainer.
Yeah, it's just like I said, again, even like a funny story in the NFL is just horrific, whereas like other sports, it's kind of like
in baseball, it's just giving someone a hot foot.
Yeah, like today, the big thing going on NBA Twitter is how Jimmy Butler is in the new Fall Out Boy video with his emo haircut, which is just hilarious. So
yeah, that's a delight.
Yeah,
like
I mean, to be fair, the NBA's had its fair share of scary.
Oh yeah, no, and most of them are on the Charlotte Hornets. So yeah, Miles Bridges. Oof.
Yeah, like even the Brett Favre incident, like that was treated as a very funny thing because he was wearing pink Crocs when he
also because he had a small penis too. That was another aspect of it.
Before he decided to ruin someone's career.
Yeah. And then got her fired for complaining about it. And we were like,
for doing what she was supposed to do.
Yeah.
But you know, he's moved on to better things like defrauding the poor people of the state of Louisiana, you know?
Oh, what a piece of shit.
Man,
what a piece of shit.
Not enough Wrangler jeans in the world will let me enjoy his parts of There's Something About Mary anymore.
I will say it's like the Adam will relate to this, like just the small like crumb of just like solace in my Bears fan heart is that Brett Favre, giant piece of shit, and Aaron Rodgers, also a giant piece of shit. So it's just like,
Yeah.
at least, that. Yeah.
And I think people are coming around on the fact that Aaron Rodgers is a little overrated as a quarterback. But
Yeah, I think if you play more than 3 snaps, you can get rated.
yeah. Yeah. Fucking Aaron Rodgers. So
But, yeah.
I think that's our episode, right? I think we did it.
Yeah. We did it.
I mean, yeah. Let's do it.
So you guys want to go run some drills after this? Yeah.
Yeah, I got a tackling sled in the backyard.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Honestly, let's do it.
It's pink. I got it from an influencer. Fitness influencer.
I got it from an OnlyFans influencer.
Yeah. Logan,
if he was subscribed to her OnlyFans, do you think she booted him off after that incident?
Probably not.
I don't know, but I know 4
Yeah.
people that followed her on Instagram when I went to check it out. And one of them, I'm just like, I see you. The other 3, I was like, this makes sense. And then one of them, I'm like, whoa, buddy.
Yeah.
So, Logan, Jeff, thank you both for doing the pod, except for Jeff.
No, thanks.
What do we have to plug before we get out of here? Follow the show on Instagram at You Don't Sports. That's what I got.
I'd like to plug the concept of not committing genocide. Seems like a nice and easy thing to do, but a lot of people have trouble with that. So
Controversial.
Oh, God. Every time with you, Logan.
Oh,
Yeah.
Please don't do genocide. Please don't do genocide. Look, I'm going to do what I want to do.
Jeff, besides genocide, what do you want to plug?
Genocide. Also, it's not a thing to joke about, but this is a comedy podcast, so yes, it is. On top of this, I do a bunch of stuff. My at is right here. It's at Hey There Jeffro on all my social media as well as my YouTube account. I open cards on camera with Adam on this specific YouTube channel. I think we're going to do one soon, right? We got one coming up.
We'll do one soon.
We got that going on. Jeff has cool friends. If you go to patreon.com/JeffMay for early access to uncensored episodes with bonus content, including the shows like Nerd with Dre Alvarez and Ugg Fine with Kim Kral, early access, blah, blah, blah. I do lots of stuff. Find it.
Oh, also, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video and like all of Adam and Jeff's videos, because that just helps with the algorithm. And please fucking leave a review for any of their podcasts on iTunes or anything, because you can't overemphasize how much that helps both of them. So, yeah.
Do it.
Yes.
Do it.
Tell him, Dad.
And let's get out of here. Logan, say goodbye.
Bye.
Jeff, say goodbye.
Bye.
Hey, goodbye, everybody. We love you.
Bye. I love you. Adam doesn't. Bye.
Goodbye, live stream. Goodbye. Thank you for watching.